Have you ever wondered what it's like to move out? What it's like and what you need and things that I wish I'd known before moving out? Well, in this video I am going to go ahead and do that, and I'm going to tell you all the juicy goss and all the things that I wish I had known before moving out of my parents' house.
And trying to remain so strong. I know it's good if I'm alone. I got it, I gotta go, running to better times.
If you're new to my channel and you haven't seen me before, my name is Deanna and I make mental health and lifestyle videos, so this is like one of the lifestyle ones. So I'm talking from an English perspective of someone who's living in a one bed. In England, they do have different sort of things in terms of like shared accommodation and things like that where you live with other people. But for me, I am making this video in terms of living in a one-bedroom flat on my own, no one else. So the first thing that I wish I had thought about before moving out was money. So money is one of the biggest topics that has, like, it ruins families and it ruins relationships with so many people. There are 4 things that I've come up with. So the first thing that I've thought of is council tax. So council tax around this area could be anything from £60 to £120, and that's on top of your rent. So you've got to then find that additional bit of money to be able to pay for that. The next thing that you've got to find is obviously your rent. So if you're earning a certain amount of money, you've then got to think about, okay, rent, bills, electricity, everything. You've got to think about all those different things when considering whether moving out and moving to a certain place is going to be worth your while, really. So you've got to think about, can I afford this? Can I logistically afford this? So for myself, I stayed at home a bit longer because it was cheaper, and although I was being charged a really tiny minimal amount of rent, it was nothing compared to like the expenditure that I have here. So the next thing I thought about was cleaning. So when you're at home, does your mum or your dad ever come in and like sort of take your laundry and put it into a wash for you? Those sort of things become massive things when you have to think about, now I've got to sort my laundry out, now I've got to be able to learn how to work this washing machine, this machine that I've never had to use before, like in most cases. Like when I grew up, I never, had to do much laundry, and I never had to do nothing like that. Like I lived quite a privileged life, and I'm not gonna hold my hands up and say I lived a very privileged life. I never had to do things that the mum would do. Like I lived in a very kind of old-timey type situation where my dad went out to work. My mum, she also worked, but not as much as my dad. And then like my mum did all the chores, the cooking, the cleaning, all those bits and pieces. Like a very like olden time house, when like, the dad's the breadwinner and the mum is like the homemaker. But my mum still has a career, so it's moved on a little bit, but it's very much still when my dad is the breadwinner. So the next thing I want to talk about is actually for when you're considering where you're going to move to. So when you're going to consider how you're going to move to, you're probably going to look online on places such as Rightmove, maybe On the Market, places like that, and you're going to have a look at these places and think, okay, well that looks nice, that looks quite a good, decent size. But you need to also take into consideration that when you're looking at those floor plans are going to be the widest point to the widest point, so the biggest to the biggest. It's not going to take into consideration if the room has a notch out here or it's got a radiator sitting there. You're not going to get those measurements, because I suppose estate agents, they want to see and they want to have people looking at the best bits of the place. So what I'd recommend in terms of this is a really stupid thing that may sound absolutely insane on camera, but take a tape measure and, if you can, a printout of the floor plan and a bit of paper or something like that with you to the viewing. So when you go and view the property, go and have a look at where the radiators are placed. Is there any notches in this room? Like, is it a completely square room, or is there like, I don't know, like an airing cupboard coming out of here or something like that? And you want to measure it. I know you may seem like an absolute weirdo coming to a viewing with like a tape measure, but at the end of the day, if you're considering and you're really considering moving into this place, you need to know, like, what am I getting myself into? Like what's going on, sort of thing. Like, what do I need to do in order to be able to live in this place? Really helpful is to go around the place and put an X on the lines where you've got plug sockets, because it depends what type of job you do. If you're, say, let's take a YouTuber for example. If you're a YouTuber, you need to be able to set aside a small portion, or like a room or whatever, depending on how big you're going for in terms of the flat and stuff. But you need to be able to set aside a room for filming. You need to set aside a room that's like maybe an office. So you need to kind of think about your lifestyle and how that's going to fit into this room and this place that you're looking at buying or looking at renting. So that's it for today's video. I hope you've enjoyed and have gained something from this video and maybe just a bit of advice. But thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you in my next one.
Nobody can make her feel down. She was always smiling.